doing some work on the Mustang today, hopefully taking out the rear glass out of the rear window, the side glass out of the quarter panel area, and removing the door panel, and maybe even cutting the quarter panel off and seeing what we get involved, like see how far we get involved here. So we'll show you. Took everything out of it last night. This is what we find. Somebody's already come in here and cut the floors out. Someone's already gotten in here, started cutting away. Again, you can see, typical of these Mustangs, see down here, you see the bright daylight down there? That's where the leaf spring holders all are. It's a common spot, so anyone out there buying a Mustang, if the guy will let you lift the rear seat, check it out in these areas. They always are rusted out through there, especially in the back area where the trunk lid is. Down, if you can see way in there, where I'm heading towards the taillight, right there where that glob of shit is. That there is exactly where it's rusted out there too, and the leaf springs come through. The holders just fly right through there. It's a common issue, problem for these Mustangs. Okay, first off, you want to get this rear glass out of here. Well, the rear handles are an Allen head in there, Allen head socket, and you got a couple screws on the panels. You got this little trim piece here, easy enough, pulls off. Well, maybe it doesn't pull off that easy. Oh, this one seems to be pinched underneath. Anyway, wham bam, thank you ma'am. Yanks off just like that, you buy it new. Cheap as borscht. So we're going to get this panel off, we're going to remove this window right here, and then what I'm going to do is probably get in here, obviously get the car up in the air, remove the quarter panel wheel molding chrome here, it's quite dented up. I'll save it if I can possibly save it for the customer. I know he was talking about getting new quarter panel trim though, so if I end up destroying it, it's not a huge deal. I always ask these questions before I start taking stuff apart. Are you saving the chrome? If they say yes, you got to be careful. If they say no, you still be careful and try and save it for them, because you never know, they might change their mind. But if something goes for shit and you end up wrecking it, it doesn't matter. They did say they were getting new. Okay, so let's get in here. I'll get some tools, I'll get started, and we'll come right back to you. Okay, so rear window is out. I was going to try and film this for you, but it's just impossible. The rear ones are even worse than the front ones because I can't even set the camera up where you would imagine. You can see over there that example, that one's still in where all the bolts are. So you want to do all them bolts that you see right there, and what that's going to do is that's going to drop the window regulator, which the window regulator is right here. Now we're assuming you got your door panel and all that shit off, right? So anyway, as you can see, this piece, if this makes any sense to you, this piece right here, which I'll take off, this piece here, see how it slides? If you look in there, I don't know if you can see that, it slides onto that roller there, onto that blue roller. Well, that piece bolts in, if we can get in here, that piece, if you see it right down there, there's one bolt, there's two bolt. So unbolt that, get that out of there, slide that off, taken care of. Then undo, you see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get them bolts the hell out of there. What that's going to allow you to do is, that's going to get, put this back on, that's going to get this unbolted. And it's going to, well actually leave that off there. It slides out, if you see, it slides out of that track up in there. That let me see. Does that make sense? Okay. So then when you got that, this is going to drop down to the bottom. You're going to wiggle it out through the bottom hole of the door, and then you've got these two things out of there. Then you're left with this window, which this piece is bolted in the car. There's a bolt here, the bottom and up top, and where you get them bolts is, and I'm sorry, this is not a good video, but even if you pick up one thing out of it, it's something better than nothing. There's a bolt hole there, there's a bolt hole there. Look over there on that side, same bloody thing up in them holes. So when you get that unbolted, I know it's confusing, then you're able to get this piece, which is a separate piece, out. The window, basically, if you see, a track. So like I say, I left this piece bolted in the car. When I undid the window stuff, I was able, oh, before I get carried away, right here is a bolt on either side. What that is that's a stop. See through the window how you got stops here? That is the stop, so the window won't slide out. So when you undo these two bolts, this window slides right out of this whole track. Okay, and then you're left with just this piece, this big tin piece, which comes out after. Everything slides out, and that again is why you have a gap here this wide, because everything's going to tilt down and come out through here, if that makes sense to you. I'm sorry guys, this is not a good video to show you this, but like I say, if you get one thing out of it, you do. Now what I do afterwards is I put it all back together and I put it away on my shelving so I know how it basically goes. So I've taken this piece, I've slid this back down in, like track here, slid it back together. Then I take this piece, a window regulator, and I'm gonna slide it back together in there. There we go. And then this piece, I know it goes this way. I'm gonna slide it on. I'm gonna put all my bolts and nuts back on. I put my stops, which are here, back in. You don't see them; they're in behind here. You can't really see them, but they're in behind there. Just left it loose. Put all that together like that. You know, I'll wrap it around with a piece of tape, mark that it's the left-hand side, and I'll leave it alone. And then when it comes time to put this car back together, everything will get cleaned up, greased up like it should, and then it will work really, really well. I won't just throw it together with all this old grease and crap on it. But for now, we're not to that point. We don't care about that right now. The idea is just to wrap that up, put it away, and away we go. So hopefully, if I can get in here, hopefully you understand what I'm saying. So I'll come to the passenger side. So get this shit off of here. All the mice crap, all the everything. So like I say, I undid this bolt. I undid this bolt. I slit that piece off, got it out of the way. Then I came along and I undid these. Actually, I don't know if you can see in here because I haven't got the window rolled down, but in these holes, there are bolts. And you have to roll the window up and down again to line up. And you undo them, like I said, stops. Then you get this stuff out of here, these bolts here. This comes down, kind of falls down here. You wiggle it out through here. That's why you have to get this piece here off first, because this piece is a big unit. It has to come down, wiggle out. You get that off. Then, like I say, you slide the glass out because the stops are off. You slide the glass out, kind of comes out this way here. Then you can unbolt this panel, which is bolted right here. And it is also, I haven't got a light in here, but again, it's bolted up through these holes too. 3 bolts. You get that out and it comes out last. So the last thing to come out is this piece. So first piece this, second piece regulator, third piece window, fourth piece that. Time comes, you're going to put it back together. You just do it the complete backwards of how you took it apart. And trust me, it's always a nightmare and it's always a pain in the ass. So when somebody says to you, can you give me a quote on how much you install my glass of all my new rubbers and all my new felts that I bought that are aftermarket that we all know won't fit worth a shit? You tell them, sorry, I only charge by the hour for that. You do not give them a price. I do not give them a price. My glass shops around town here will not even touch that stuff. So there you go. Remember, big thumbs up. It's always a good time at old time.